Hello and welcome to this meeting of Source Evolutionaries, and good to see so many of you on the call already. So just to give a bit of a background to these calls for anyone who's new to them, we started this initiative back in January after the last live Source event, which was to celebrate the Year of the Rat, which happened in Chinatown on the 20th of January. Just at the start of the Year of the Rat and shortly after the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And it was just literally as news of coronavirus, of COVID-19 was coming out of China. And interestingly, we were in Chinatown. And it was an amazing event that night. And there was a frisson of concern in the air. The Tory party had just got elected. There was worries about what was going to happen next. And then, of course, the whole of the COVID situation unfolded. And because of that evening, we decided to create these monthly calls, which were designed as an open forum for all of the people who were there that night and anyone else who wanted to join, to have a discussion forum so that we could share views and ideas, concerns even on what's unfolding in the world. So here we are, and these happen on the first Thursday of every month at 5 o'clock UK time. We're going to run them till the end of 2020. I always do an alignment to open these calls, courtesy of Rita Herrey's. It's a shamanic prayer of the 7 galactic directions. From the East House of Light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the North House of Night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the West House of Transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the South House of the Eternal Sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, House of Heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, House of Earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Aho. And so welcome to you all. Since the last forum a month ago, I had an inspiration to go out and film a one take kind of, it wasn't a live stream, it was just a video, which I filmed out here on the land in the Peak District. We're very close to source here, actually, the source of the river. And it was totally unscripted. It was not mind mapped. It wasn't rehearsed, and I put it out unedited. It was simply a bit of a rant about what's unfolding in the UK, particularly around COVID and some of the restrictive measures, which just don't seem to make sense. And I put that video out, and it kind of went viral. It's had over 200,000 views. I don't know exactly how many views it's had, because the Facebook version has got a fact checker block screen on it, and when they do that, they stop you seeing how many views your video had. But before it had that on, it had about 50,000 views on Facebook, and it's had over 160,000 views on YouTube. So it kind of went viral, and I've subsequently done 2 videos since then. And the response has been absolutely overwhelming. I'd say 95% of all of the comments and everything I've received have been wonderful and positive. Of course, there've been 5% people calling me an idiot and what I said, you know, arse gravy, and really horrific kind of just verbal abuse. But the interesting thing about the 95% of people saying thank you so much, because you articulated what I was feeling, that there's more to this than meets the eye. And of course, none of us know exactly what the facts are. None of us know the exact detail. How could we know what the exact detail of what's this kind of, what seems to be a global master plan behind what's unfolding? But it doesn't feel, it doesn't feel right. And so that was what I was saying. My intuition was telling me there's something quite sinister going on behind what's unfolding. Most definitely a push towards mass vaccination. And it seems to me a kind of takeover linking big tech and big pharma to kind of create a future where we're kind of being guided towards being transhuman and moving away from Gaia. And there seems to be a move towards mass command and control, and potentially through technology linked into vaccinations. So that was my concern that I was articulating. And the 95% of people who supported what I said and who resonated with it, so many of them were saying, what do we do? You know, what action can we take? What's the solution? I know there's a lot of people putting content out right now about the problem and various ideas around conspiracy theories, but I really want this call to be focused on solutions and what do we want to create in the future? What do we want to vision? And how can we energize a different kind of future? I'd love to come over to you, Kevin, as you've joined.
Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see you all. I just, in my meditations, I've just come up with, we have to start asking better questions, really. I think conspiracy theories tend to fill a void where facts are either not found or insufficient or transcended. At least in this country, we say we're living in a post-fact reality. So I think that it really comes down to our own practice and discipline. You know, I think anybody who does not have a spiritual practice at this point in time needs to catch up. So, you know, I follow world events. It's a good escape from what's happening stateside, I can tell you. And we appreciate all your sympathy, condolences, and pity on what's happening here. But I think that also, if you look at it from the cosmic point of view in 30,000 foot, if you will, everything seems to be going according to plan. I mean, what do you think, Rachel?
Well, this certainly seems to be an unraveling. And I was just listening to all the astrology reports around all of the planets and what's unfolding. And it does seem that, to me, this is my hope, that we are going through a metamorphosis. And in that metamorphosis, the caterpillar has to break down inside the cocoon for the butterfly to be born. And I guess that must be terrifying for the caterpillar to go through that disintegration. And my feeling is, my hope is that that when the metamorphosis is complete, that the old cocoon will fall away. However, the danger that we have with the big tech, big pharma combo is that they will try to alter the course of nature and hold on and grip and hold on tightly to the old ways through artificial means, through trying to prevent that natural process. And that's my concern. And it seems like someone has pushed a button on a program that has been planned a long time ago. I mean, lots of conspiracy theories about Agenda 21 and all these things. And it seems to me that someone's pressed a button on that agenda and they've pressed it too soon. And there's a window of opportunity for that program to be derailed. And that's my sense of what we're being called to do now. But I don't think we can do it through the old systems, through the justice system, through taking legal action. All of those things take too much time. As you say, Kevin, I feel it has to be a metaphysical solution. And yes, very most definitely on an individual level, definitely having that faith to be able to pull on a source energy from beyond the labyrinth and to stay in that central alignment and not be pulled out, not be pulled off center by the energy and the pull into anger and fear and judgment. So those are our challenges. Yeah. And by the way, Kevin, I didn't watch the presidential debate. I've been earmarking that to watch it at some point. Is it going to be worth my while?
Well, I think if you've been in any preschool, you probably have had the experience. I mean, so have at it. I think it would be a real energy drain. I think it was summed up by a CNN correspondent quite succinctly and I think accurately as a shit show. I mean, the only thing that was missing was mud pies. It was an embarrassment. It was expected. And, you know, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to change anybody's minds in this country.
Yeah. I mean, it seems
and it's performance art. It's also performance art. I mean, you talk about big pharma, you talk about, you know, the capitalist machine. You know, it's all part of that.
Yeah.
You know, my son who's 20, who is very wise for his years, thinks that it's all beyond statecraft anyway, that it's banks that are moving funds here and there, and certainly my experience in the entertainment business in Silicon Valley bears that out. But I'm really interested to hear from the community about how they've faced some of the challenges and what kind of solutions that have evolved in their own lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's open it up to anyone who wants to come on the call.
I think for me, it's like I kind of simplified everything in two different paths. There's you know, the dark path, which is all the technology advancements, you know, and more importantly, AI and robotics and security, you know, this line of evolution, and I think the virus, etc., is in a way it's maybe it's speeding up things, but it was already going this direction before, and anyway, so that's quite dark, of course. You know, it's like the AI is round the corner, and China is probably ahead in the game, and it's probably why America is freaking out and everybody's freaking out, and it's all about America and China because of AI. So that's all the darkness. But on the bright side, I think this is kind of like a metaphor for human consciousness evolution, and you know, and it's kind of showing us a way of actually where we are going, and it's a bit like the convergence point, you know, of like the AI, in a way. There's this like super mind, super AI controlling the world. I think I really believe in many ways there's like the same kind of point for human consciousness where we are going, and it's really about focusing in this path, trying to improve our skills, improve our perception, and to move forward towards this direction. And I think this is what keeps me really positive. But also it's helped me to see it in every day, you know, because for example, like if I ask any of you here if you had recently an experience of thinking of someone, you know, and then someone just appeared, or someone just sent you a text, or these kind of things, you know, it's basically like you know, this intercommunication without the digital world, you know, because we tend to forget that actually we are much beyond the digital world. You know, it's a bit like what this big documentary is going viral now. It's you know, the octopus teacher. It's okay. Really showing us that actually nature is much more powerful than we can think of.
Yeah, no, definitely synchronicities. Everything's flowing so much faster now, and Interestingly, when you talked about AI, I don't know if you can see here, but as you were talking about AI, Kevin's screen turned to HAL 2000 from Space Odyssey 2001, which was quite an interesting movie, wasn't it? Where HAL decided to take over the spaceship. So, but yeah.
Well, I think that we're looking for intelligent life in the universe. That's why I second your recommendation. The movie My Teacher the Octopus is fabulous and well recommended. It really shows that it's still possible to connect to the natural world in big ways. As far as HAL is concerned, in 2001, it's a very human story, and AI is only as good as the people who are programming the intelligence, right? So it's limited by human intelligence. If you look at the movie, Hal is the only person on the mission who knows the truth, and he has to keep it from the crew, and has a conflict that causes him to go crazy because he can't lie. So, and in 2061, he gives his life to the mission. So I think intelligence is only as good as the programmers.
Thanks.
But can I just say something? Because just before actually I came on I went on the call. I've been last night. I had this kind of epiphany moment, thinking, well, AI is very good at, of course, at recognizing patterns, and it's all about analyzing what we do on Facebook with what we see and what we do on Facebook. And then I realized, oh, actually, there's one very simple thing which is very easy to disrupt, is actually the like button. If we stop using the like button, especially on political content, on anything which is really relevant to what matters, if we stop using the like button, actually that's a very disruptive pattern. So I started to make a post on this, and then it came another problem came around, which is, of course, by saying boycott the like button, of course Facebook knows that I'm saying boycott the like button, so this was not shared anywhere. So with a friend today, we thought, oh, we have a problem now, because of course we've been like shadowed again, So actually what I just I did some research, and actually I found there's some fonts, typeface, which have been designed to disrupt character recognition. So there's lots of tools like that which we can use to actually disrupt patterns. For example, like not following the normal convention of like using their tools like button, or maybe if we comment, we can scramble words, and if we use if we want to create some post about some subject, we can use actually disruptive fonts, so we can read, but the Facebook can't read.
Wow. Charlie actually designed all of the source logos. He's a sacred geometry designer, well, a supreme designer, but brilliant at sacred geometry too. So
he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Yes, thank you, Charlie, for opening the discussion. So anyone else wanting to come on here?
Okay.
Welcome. Nice to see you.
Do you know what? There are so many levels playing out simultaneously. We were told 30 years ago that the work that we were doing was urgent and important, and we knew that. Everything has been pointing to the end of the world and a new beginning, but that doesn't happen in one day. It's a period of time, it's a window, and we've been in that window for coming up to 30 years already. The universe right now is so on point. If you look back biblically, and if we remember that that was a time that was depicted at a time when not many people could read and write, they weren't educated, so stories were shared in the way that they were. Everything always has to stop before it can be reborn again. Regardless of how this virus scenario occurred, the world has stopped. It stopped in every way that we have known it so far. And I think what we need to do is we need to pull our arms in We need to use our common sense and do what's right. So individually, we get past every single day in the best way we can based on the parameters of what occurs individually for us. But I think we have to be absolutely aware, more than we ever have been before, of what we're feeling, thinking, and attracting, because the universe is so on point. It's using us individually as barometers of what we want to occur. Now, remember as well that it will only take 1% of 1% of the total population to bring in change. So at its highest level, that's only about 6,000 people. So only about 6,000 people need to be awake and aware, spiritually, consciously, of what we're creating to be able to steer the ship in the way that we want it to move. Now, if we remember as well that the rest of the population is operating on the old-fashioned paradigm of ego, they're scared of the new coming in, they're scared of the old falling away. They don't know what life is look like, and they're holding on hand, tooth and nail onto where they are right now, fearful of what will occur. Whereas the rest of us understand that, yeah, this is where we are. Some of it's bad, some of it's not so bad. We don't know how much is made up. We don't know where it came from. We don't know what's coming in. All we know is that we're birthing in something new. Now, again, if we're in a place of rebirth, that means the old has to stop. Now, for those of us that have been working on a higher level, for a good few years now, we've been trying to change direction. And a lot of the things that we've tried haven't worked, haven't quite gelled. The doors haven't opened, or they have a bit that then they've closed. So again, clearly something's been out of sync. But it seems to me at the moment that the universe is offering things to us. It's offering what we didn't know that we wanted for us to say yes, but it's also offering what we did want. It's knocking on the door now to say, hey, this is being presented to you. Is it really what you want? Are you ready for it? And it doesn't seem to be a time that we can race forward. It almost seems to be a time where we have to stand still and tread water. And it's coming back to us to take a breather, to gather strength, but to prepare the ground for what we want to birth in.
I know you're channeling and I know how you operate, but I'm just conscious to get to other people on the call. But what you're saying is echoing what a lot of the astrologers are saying at the moment, that we're in the, I said the turning of the tide, like the retrogrades and the directs. It's that time of the turning of the tide is the best way to describe it.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. And I would say if anybody was resonating in particular, you owe it to yourself to sign up for her newsletter, which is wonderful and comes out monthly, Stephanie King. So thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Stephanie. Stephanie was one of the 8 founding seeds of Source way back in 2013.
Having been being a mother, it feels like not only I am the midwife of what is being birthed through me, this very profound process of witnessing the pieces of what is replaying in the collective right now. So as a tracker, from the time I was a child, I used to see things behind what was me seeing you right now. I could see in the invisible. But right now I'm using this just to see, for example, how what took place in war times, divide to conquer, or divide to separate, or divide to break down the community. And where does that piece sit within me? So if I see my own greatest places where I feel vulnerable, or where I feel I held a feeling of being excluded or feeling of fear as a child, fear of the dark, or fear of my caretaker. Then right now, if I can just turn that presence, that conscious presence within, and start creating a bit more spaciousness within myself. At this time of birthing, this is a birth, this is the last stage of birthing. And the last stage of birth, as a mother having given birth 5 times, there is a moment, there is a turning point when for a while you guide the process, but there is a moment when that process you are no longer in control. It's like the cosmos and the child and the life force is just taking over. And it feels like this is what is happening. We are both the midwives. I'm talking about men here as well. We are midwifing. The men are fathering. I'm talking about the true fathering of Earth. The one who is really going to honor this, the feminine values, who are saying that has to stop. That abuse has to stop, because the feminine is the bearer and the giver of life. But the man is the one that carries the lineage from the ancestors. So if I turn my vision within and just create a little bit of space around where I feel that vulnerability or where I feel that trauma, then I can ask the question, where does the trauma sit? Where I am perpetuating being the abuser, or being the rapist, or being the one that is maybe the invader, how we have invaded other countries, or how we have colonialized other countries, or how we have separated through different religions, we have separated. And suddenly now, I'm seeing the perpetrator within myself. But as well, I'm holding compassion for that perpetrator, because I have co-created it over centuries of lives, millenniums of lifetime. And I can see the victim as well, and I hold compassion for her. And I see that part of me as a child who wanted to rescue, as I could see the abuse from the perpetrator who was very wounded.
Yes.
So as I bring those 3, they suddenly collapse, because I'm hearing their story. And I'm not hearing it with my masculine mind. I'm hearing it with, I am receiving the information of, I see your wound, I see your trauma. And from that place, I can welcome compassion, forgiveness, and cradle those parts like a mother would cradle, or the father would take that child and say, I am there. Let me hold you to the cosmos. And let me bow down to you. So that's my take on this birthing, which is a very painful birthing process. And each one of us, we have our piece to hold. My piece as one of the feminine shaman walking this earth is a very profound piece. But right now, I see the Inquisition. I see where betrayal is happening. But instead of going with judgment, I see and I say, I see you. Let me bring space around that piece instead of dividing.
Yes.
And judging. I see, and let me bring just a little bit of softness around that and compassion. Then I don't divide.
Yes.
I don't have to separate.
Yeah. So transcending judgment You know, it is the 20th card in the tarot, the one before enlightenment, to the overwhelming desire to judge and to make wrong. So thank you for bringing that piece in, Brigitte. And just to say to everyone that Brigitte runs the Source Center in France. And so quite an interesting link to our source that you run the Source Center in Cathar country down there in France. So thanks for coming on, Brigitte.
You're welcome, and thank you for giving me space to share those pieces, which have to do with giving a voice to the feminine.
Yeah.
And to the masculine, honoring the masculine as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
I've been thinking about this technology and the transhuman things. Do you think that technology and digital technology now has actually peaked?
I think it comes down to being conscious about our use of technology. At the beginning of the 19th century, Rudolf Steiner, the founder of anthroposophy, said that in the late 20th century, there would evolve a parallel life form to biological life forms that would use biology to propagate. And I think he was talking about technology and silicon-based life forms, if you will. So my sense is that I don't know that we've reached an apex. Certainly with respect to the rolling out of AI, what I've learned being in technology is that there are places like China that are far more advanced because they don't have, quote unquote, the type of ethical standards that we hold in place. So in terms of the use of AI for warfare and also bioengineering, they're far ahead of us. I think that what it comes down to is the spirit behind technology that Steiner was talking about is a spirit that says it's going to give you efficiency and something for nothing. But that's not the way that the universe works, whether it's the law of karma or Newton's third law of motion. There has to be a cost, you know, whether or not it's the fact that email was supposed to really make our lives more efficient. I don't know about you, but, you know, my email inbox is ridiculous, groaning, and absurd. You know, texting and notification is interrupting our consciousness, literally. So I think if we're conscious about what these tools can offer, then that's a workaround. But certainly what we're talking about in terms of social media and the fact that these companies are not good. They want to turn you into the data. They are using you. So that's my little soapbox, and I'll get off of it.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you for that insight.
Rachel, just to interlink to that. So hello, everyone, and thanks, Rachel, for holding the space. Great to be having this sort of connection. And just interlink to like the social dilemma, just I think a couple of really good resources that will benefit all of us. The main guy who's featured, who's like at the vanguard of the ethical, moral pinpoint of where we're moving with the technology is the young guy in the film who gave an amazing address last year to the Senate in America. His name's Tristan Harris. So just make a note of his name, Tristan Harris, and he's got a fantastic website called Humane Tech, HUMANETECH, Humane Tech, I think it's .com, and he's got a very good podcast as well. And he's really pushing for us to have reform of how technology is used and looking for new moderation, for new discussions. And there's a whole list of resources on the website. So I just wanted to chip in with that because I think he's going to be a real leading light in this whole next chapter of how we evolve with the social media and all of this technology.
Yes, thanks for that, Ben. Cool, thank you.
There feels like there's a defragmenting of these systems, which I'm very excited about because of the energy that was sapped out of me through speaking up about paedophilia and domestic abuse. It feels like now, like that other woman Bridget was just saying, I feel like I need to stand back and let source and let bigger than what I understand happen, because I have fought so long, and unfortunately through the system I had a daughter removed from me and given to the abuser. Now this was because I spoke up about stuff, and it feels that all of this darkness is now arising to the surface, and it just feels really, I just feel really I know that what I've gone through is huge grief as a mother, what I've gone through, but it feels like I've had to go through that grief to rebirth into something bigger than what I've ever dreamed of. And to stand here now and it not be broken, as a woman that I've had to lost a child, I feel really empowered, and just, I'm not really the best with words. It's just, I just feel really excited with what's to come. It's also scary, it's unknown, but it feels that these systems of control, sabotage, suppression, and manipulation, and it feels like these are all now breaking down, and we're gonna have they're all gonna have to filter out, and it's gonna be tough, but they're gonna come out, and somehow it's just gonna be like bang, and we're gonna see this like amazing light, and that's how it feels like for me. And obviously my light would be reconnecting and reuniting with my child and my daughter, and the truth coming out. And that's one of the most powerful things, like when someone was talking earlier about the synchronicities that are coming up in my life. It isn't about now going into the court system and fighting it. It's about standing out and not going into that. I think it was you that mentioned it, Rachel, that that's the long road. It feels like I need to stand out now and somehow find the truth, stand in my truth, and slowly get this criminal act that's happening to many women and mothers and parents that are having our children forced and taken from us, highlighted and dismantled. So yeah, that's me. I hope that.
Renee, big ho'oponopono to you, Renee, because you are mirroring exactly what happened to me. I had my 2 youngest sons taken away from me by the system earlier this year. I was accused of being a domestic abuser, and I managed to get a top London criminal lawyer to collapse the case. But I imagine there are many women in my position who didn't have the resources to be able to fight the system. And I totally get that the system can't be fought by this. We're not going to transform and alchemize this through the same way it was created. And I totally get that the solution is a higher metaphysical one. And thanks to some very, I don't want to make this personal, but it feels relevant to mention, thanks to some very evolved evolutionaries who I called in for support, I was able to see that my 2 youngest sons, in many ways, maybe it's part of their journey that they needed to see what the system does to help with their own, to assist with their own evolution as a new type of masculine, to witness the system. We've all had to witness the system and the injustice of the system, the violence of the system, it's like that's been part of our training program. So maybe that's part of the training program,
Absolutely.
Go through to witness what it does and how it feels. And to be able to find that place of compassion, because I really personally had to dig very deep, and I had to really clear a lot of very deep rage, anger, fear around everything during those 3 months where I really had to dig deep, and I cleared a lot of trauma. And Bridget was one of the people who helped me actually, and many others. So anyway, so I just wanted to just share that parallel to you. So thank you for coming on, Renee, and really praying that that this will all collapse into the native nothingness from whence it came, as to paraphrase Florence Scovel-Shinn, that this illusion, this veil, that all of the deep metaphysical work, this higher consciousness that's opening, literally the veil will thin and collapse, like in the Wizard of Oz, you know, the curtains will just part and the power will just go. I share that so strongly, but we've are all having to dig really deep, and I think that my sense is it's accelerating the awakening of a consciousness, what's going on, because so many people are waking up now and questioning, whereas before they were just working the program. And the program has just got a little ahead of itself, and inadvertently it's caused people to question the program, and it's created a huge pattern interrupt in the program. And once we get to a critical mass, as Stephanie said, and I personally think it's probably 144,000, that's going to be the tipping point to create a shift for everyone. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Renee, and really trusting you are reunited with your daughter, and that everything can be resolved for the highest good of all.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so just in the last few minutes, anyone else want to just do a quick last contribution? Hi, Sask, you come on. Yes. I know there's probably more people want to speak, but I do want to. Oh, look, hold on. There's Charlie. Don't feed the algorithm. Boycott the like button. Spread the word. Join the movement in his special typeface that can get past the Facebook bots. How wonderful. Thank you, Charlie. Sass, let's just come to you for last few words before we close the call.
Well, we're just on the precipice, aren't we, of a new dimension, heading and raising our vibration up to a new way of being. And this is the clearing out of all those patterns that don't connect and don't resonate with the new paradigm and the new dimension that we're moving to. And it's also the false light, and you've got the true matrix, which has been sort of hacked into and distorted. So there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of fear, because that is the nature of the hack. And you've got the choice, technology, going off into technology. We get instant results of technology. We get an instant like if somebody sees our video and goes, yes, I love it, I like it. So it's appealing to that ego part of the human nature, which is where we get instant results. Whereas a spiritual path, it takes years and years and years. And this is until we move into our new dimension, and then it happens instantly. So we need to clear out those thoughts that no longer serve us, because when we move into the fifth dimension, they're going to be manifested instantly. So this is the playground which we're clearing out some of those ways of thinking that no longer serve us. And we just got to get everyone else on board to say, listen, it's time we're going to emotionally evolve, because at the moment people seem to like to be told what to do. They like to be instructed and given, directions on the floor about how to move it forward and which way to go around and what to do. So it's about taking responsibility and moving into our adulthood, which is a very exciting but also very scary for a lot of people. But yeah, it's an emotional, vibrational change that is moving us into a fantastic place. But we've got to clear all the dirt. You've got to clear the swamp, as Trump says. Before we can move into that. But to me, just gathering together in groups like this and creating and building visions, let's share our visions of what we'd love. I'd love a sound and light temple for people to walk in off the street, and so they can just get some healing there and then, so that we're doing on a day by day, moment by moment time frame of, yes, I feel I want to be in alignment with myself much more. What can I do to do that, rather than having to queue up at the doctors for some kind of poison that we think is going to be the answer. So yes, it's time we're going to need to grow up and become our adult selves. The dream, to dream the dreamer's dream, because the dream is already there. We just need to step into it and take responsibility. And it's going to be great, but we just got to get through all of the clear out this rather nasty, sort of residue of the old paradigm where the patriarchal system has been controlling and suppressing the female. and the female. So yeah, go out in nature, spend time loving mother. That's what I do. Hug the trees, put your feet on the ground, just connect with the mother nature, because we're here sending her information all the time, upgrading where we're at. So the more of us that can upgrade, the quicker we're going to shift this paradigm.
It is the master antidote, isn't it? The going out into nature, the master antidote.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what Lisa Davies shared, that her 86-year-old father-in-law simply said, we've moved too far from our true nature and nature, Mother Earth, too. And I think so she's seconding your thoughts. And out here in California, nature is speaking big time to us with the fires and earthquakes. I think we have to really listen to her. I wanted to say on a personal note, I've been working with the indigenous peoples in California and the Southwest who've been ravaged by COVID and also the fires. So I was hoping that the community could at least share the word, if not on social media, then via smoke signals, that the 7th Generation Fund for Indigenous Peoples is helping those folks who are really left behind. They have what they call a flicker fund, and we're working with them to help restore resources and something of a normal life on the reservation. So thank you all for a very stimulating conversation today. And I think we're really speaking to the spirit of the fullness of the moon.
Yes, thanks for that summation, Kevin. And if you send me the link to that, I will put it in the comments below the YouTube video. I'll put this out on YouTube. Let's hope it doesn't get banned. And yeah, thank you to everyone who's come on this evening. It's been a great call. So important for us to gather and to share insights and energy. And sending you lots of love. And I have great hope for the future, for this collective future that we are indeed birthing through, even though it is, these contractions are most painful at the moment. So lots of love, and thank you all. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.